should the New York Giants sign Deandre Hopkins? Before we do get into that, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and leave a like, comment, hit the subscribe button, and join the channel. We cover everything Giants here, so if you love Giants content, this is where you want to be. So go ahead, hit the subscribe button, stick around, and join the channel. But what should DeAndre Hopkins, or should the Giants rather, sign DeAndre Hopkins? First, we're going to get into the new news from Diana Rossini of ESPN. She was going to say the Patriots are interested in signing wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Rossini added that the Bills are not all in on him, but they have had conversations about it and watching how it goes. She also added that the Cowboys and the Jets are not currently interested in him. So that's one NFC East rival team that looks like they are not interested in DeAndre Hopkins. The Cowboys have three good wide receivers, Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb, and they traded for Brandon Cooks all season. And she ends it saying Hopkins is expected to begin visiting teams next week or so. And when I'm looking at that, that is one reason why I just think DeAndre Hopkins might not get signed by the New York Giants. And that's what gave me to my first reason why he won't be a Giant, is because there's other teams. There's teams that have, more cap space than the Giants. There's teams that have things that the Giants don't right now, like the Browns. Deshaun Watson, is a guy that DeAndre Hopkins played with in Houston. And he's already talked about that, they would want him there. He's already talked to him, multiple times, because they have a rapport with each other back in Houston. So that's one team that I think has an upper advantage over the Giants. Then you look at the Patriots. The Patriots have Bill O'Brien, who was the head coach of that, DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt, Houston Texans back, a couple of years ago. So you look at that, and you look at cap space. A team like the Panthers, they're a young team, but they have cap space. DeAndre Hopkins, he's looking for, a pretty decent contract if he's going to go to a team, kind of like the Odell Beckham Jr. contract. Though, he got 1 year. It's a prove-it deal, but he got, $15 million with incentives up to $18 million, something like that. So do the Giants create the cap space? Do they say, hey, let's go ahead, move around some guys, do what we got to do to get, enough cap space to go after him, or they go another route? But another reason why I think the Giants will not go and sign DeAndre Hopkins is the Giants a wide receiver away? Is the Giants a wide receiver away of being a Super Bowl containing team? And I know some people have their different opinions on that. Now, me personally, I think the Giants are a pretty good team. I think the Giants have, everything they need to have success this season. And I think DeAndre Hopkins would take this team and make it a serious contender in the NFC. I really, really do. And that's just something that, it's my opinion. But if you look at the roster, some people might say, hey, it's not time yet. It's not the time to go out and get that, we're not there yet. We're just not there yet. Another year or two, then yes, maybe we can make that move like that. But as of right now, some people say the Giants are not a wide receiver away. So they shouldn't be, allocating cap space for, the future on a guy who is 31 years old, dealt with a little bit of injuries on the back end of his career as of late with DeAndre Hopkins. So those are just a few reasons why I think the Giants will not go after DeAndre Hopkins. I think there's other teams like the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a contending team. That's a Super Bowl contending team. Does he want to go to an absolute Super Bowl favorite? If that's the case, then teams like the Chiefs, maybe even the Eagles, hopefully not, the Buffalo Bills, those are the teams that are going to be looking, or DeAndre Hopkins rather, is going to be looking at, if he wants to really get a chance to win a ring. While the Giants, they're a good team, but they're not on the level of those teams just yet. But now I want to go into my reasons why I think the Giants should go after DeAndre Hopkins, why I think it will happen. Number one, the Giants still need a wide receiver. The Giants still need a wide receiver. It's no difference just because it's one of the best, he's a great wide receiver. It doesn't matter. He's a free agent. The Giants need a wide receiver one still. They still need that outside presence, and he would bring a different element to the Giants offense. Yes, they have a lot of speedster guys, and DeAndre Hopkins, when you're looking at, how he's getting his success on the field, it's not by speed. He's not separating. He's not, beating guys off the line no more. Most of his success comes, in the zone coverage, against zone coverage. He's not really beating guys in man, but in my opinion, he will be a guy for the Giants that if it's the late game, it's a late, in the fourth quarter, it's fourth down. The Giants need a big play. It's put up or shut up. Darren Waller is covered. He's not open. Darius Slayton, he's not open. Isaiah Hodgins, not open. DeAndre Hopkins is a guy, and he showed it multiple times. You can go back to Kyler Murray's Hail Mary versus the Buffalo Bills a couple years ago. He's a guy you throw the ball up to, because he's that good. And if you watched how he was, used last year, the production was still there. If you watched him play, he is still a great wide receiver. The narrative that he's not great or the narrative that he's fallen off a cliff, it's not true. So if we were to get DeAndre Hopkins, first of all, he can be that wide receiver one. I don't mind DeAndre Hopkins going up against, the best cornerbacks, on opposing defenses. I wouldn't mind it at all. And I think that right there, I know some people said the Giants are not a wide receiver away. DeAndre Hopkins could be the reason why the Giants, get past the divisional round and make it to an NFC Championship game, because he's just that good. He is still a great wide receiver, and he still can be a wide receiver one for, some rosters in the NFL, with the Giants, in my opinion, being one of them. Number two, the Giants can create cap space to get DeAndre Hopkins. There are ways the Giants can open up more cap space to get him if they really, really want him. Leonard Williams restructure. It's something that fans have been talking about all off season, and it sounds like the Giants have not been looking that route. Now, DeAndre Hopkins is a player that I said, hey, maybe we got to move some money off of Leonard Williams' cap hit this year. It's $32 million. Maybe we got to move some of that into next year. Maybe we got to do that because DeAndre Hopkins is a guy I'm making those kind of moves for because he's that good. Cut Darnay Holmes is another way they can get under cap space. They have cap space in the future that if they really, really want DeAndre Hopkins, they can use that as advantage to get him to play for them this year. And then always, a Saquon Barkley extension could always be a way that you could lower his cap hit and, open up a little bit more cap space for this year. And number three, this is the main one. Like I said earlier, this could be the way the Giants go from a team that, they're a playoff team to possibly being a contender in the NFC. I really, really do agree with that. And I think when you look at the AFC, it's way tougher. You got way more juggernauts in the AFC. You got the Bills, you got the Chiefs, you got the Jets who just traded for Aaron Rodgers. The NFC, you got the Eagles, you got the Niners, you got the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the Lions. But if the Giants get DeAndre Hopkins, you tell me we are not better than the Lions? You tell me we aren't, better than the Seahawks? You tell me we can't be in the niche of that third team after the Niners and the Eagles who made it to the NFC Championship game last season? That could be something that helps changes the Giants. That could be something that pushes the Giants. That's a guy who can win on his own. He doesn't have to get schemed up touchdowns because he's just going to be able to make plays. And I think that right there could be the reason why the Giants say, hey, we traded for Darren Waller. That's the move that's like, hey, that's a win now move. That's a move we're trying to, be successful. We're trying to get even better than we was after 2022. Getting DeAndre Hopkins on top of that, that's one way you can go into a Philly game and say, hey, yeah, they are still a great team, but we're even better than we were after we traded for Darren Waller. That right there is something that you got to think about. You get DeAndre Hopkins, you are probably better than the Dallas Cowboys. I already think we are. I think we closed the gap. You could pass the Dallas Cowboys if you're able to get a guy like DeAndre Hopkins on your team. Leave your thoughts down below. Let me know how you feel about DeAndre Hopkins. Should he be a Giant, or do you think the Giants should pass? Also, leave down below in the comment section, where do you think, when all is said and done, where do you think DeAndre Hopkins lands? Let me know. Let's talk about it down below in the comment section. But in my opinion, if the Giants can go get DeAndre Hopkins, that is a move I'm making. I think DeAndre Hopkins can still be a productive wide receiver for us. And just imagine him on this offense with Darren Waller, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hyatt, Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, Paris Campbell, with Brian Dable, Mike Kafka operating the offense. The Giants' offense could be on an even better level than I talked about a couple of months ago. So that's my thoughts on it. I think the Giants should go after DeAndre Hopkins if they can. And if he was to get signed here, I would be ecstatic. But like I said, leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. But until next time, it's been Boy J Dimes, and we are out. Thanks for watching. Go Giants. Peace.